The 1 of 1 is missing.
I knew something was up.
Pop, that's almost twice as much going for the same price.
I just freaking love that Rated Rookie logo.
Doing more buying.
Which one of these 5 quarterbacks has the worst set of pass catchers to throw the football to?
Guess how much I sniped this for an auction?
Number to 5, you dirty animal.
I'm telling you, these optic on-card autos are money.
No offseason.com's football card quest. We are back chatting everything football cards collecting and investing. A little bit later, we will reveal why Andy doesn't have any cards in his background anymore. The truth is, he sold his entire collection. He sold it all. He's done with you guys. Kidding. But today, Andy, we're talking quarterbacks. You see the thumbnail image. It's a beautiful photo of the most beautiful man on the planet, Joey freaking Burrow, back in action. Andy, what is sticking out to you about the current quarterback market?
Man, there's some crazy stuff going on out there, Carter. Yeah, I did see Burrow was throwing the ball today with his compression sleeve on. And I would say outside of Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow is the most hyped up quarterback in the market. He's got the most expensive rookie ticket autos, silver prism rookie autos. And then you look at the silver prism market, the optic hollow market. Joe Burrow, pound for pound, has got the most expensive cards. And I did a breakdown here, Carter, of rookie ticket autos, silver prism autos. I looked at between raw, PSA 9s and 10s. Some of these guys, it's very interesting because it's very hard to find certain cards like the Prism Silver. So it's interesting, man. And I'm excited to break this quarterback market down with you here in the top 10 quarterbacks right now. But Joe Burrow is really popping out. I think that says that, you make it to a Super Bowl, you have the weapons that Burrow has, and you're young like that. There's a lot of hype there.
Yeah, Joe's a different animal, and this is coming from someone that's like you, Andy, that loves all football cards. Even though I'm not an Eagles fan and I'm not an Alabama or Oklahoma fan, I love Jalen Herz. I like watching him play. But Joe Burrow is just on a different level when it comes to fandom. And, you see that. I mean, you really, really, really do. And this is coming off a guy who has had not one, Andy, but 2 season-ending injuries in that pivotal rookie year and in this past year. So what really sticks out to you?
Yeah, so as you can see, Joe Burrow is in Fantasy Pro. Whether you agree with Fantasy Pro's rankings or not, I love how they make their data easily accessible, and I can download it in Excel so I could put some card comparable information here. So as you can see, Joe Burrow is in their tier 2 of quarterback below Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, then tier 1, Mahomes, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. Joe Burrow kind of in the top end of that tier 2. His rookie ticket auto PSA 10 is $3,800. Raw, it's about $1,500. They're very hard to find raw. So I'm kind of estimating in that sense. And then you look at his silver market. The true silvers raw for him are $325. You see Jalen Hurts up here. He's their second ranked quarterback right now. His raw silver prisms are just $100. And you can get his optic hollows raw for $40. You compare that to Joe Burrow, that's a big difference. Joe Burrow's optic hollow raws are $200. So big. I mean, so like twice as much as what Jalen Hurts, and especially when you look at the rookie ticket autos, still over twice as much on a lot of those as well.
Yeah, Andy, this is for me a pretty good opportunity to take a look at someone like Jalen Hurts in the weaker NFC, right? We know he could play well, and he just had a really bad offensive situation last year. I think the Eagles' defense will get better. I just think that Eagles' brain trust will not allow this team to be bad. And I say bad, they still were the number 5 seed in the playoffs, Andy. And I think this could be an opportunity to, and you've always been a big Hertz buyer, seller, flipper. I think there's a really good opportunity there with Jaylen. And if you can put that chart back up there, really quickly. And I want to ask you again, is there any one of these players, as far as all this data analysis that you did, that really sticks out to you?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that sticks out. Like I look at CJ Stroud here. So you get through Josh Allen, you're like, okay, I expect 2,246 different rookie cards. I was specifically focusing on their rookie year and what tradingcarddatabase.com has. And so, Josh Allen's expectable. Jalen Hurts at 3,500 ish is expectable. Lamar Jackson at 1,700. Mahomes at 1,700 from 2017. All those we expect, we kind of understand. But then this CJ Stroud one, especially with the Fanatics contract in place and not having the Panini autos, this guy's got 8,000 different rookie cards from 2023. And so I go and start digging into CJ Stroud's rookie auto market, and it is wild. Literally, there's a lot of wild card. Wild card is a huge market for CJ Stroud's.
Yes.
It's an unlicensed product, literally, and so it's a big market, man. And so there's a ton of wild cards selling for CJ Stroud. The Topps now has different variations with these artistic designs, like this one that you can find most commonly is from Tyson Beck, the artist, and that one out of 99 selling for $800 raw. Does have an on-card auto that is authenticated by Topps/Fanatics. And the Sage sell pretty well for I mean,
yes,
if you can find a CJ Stroud auto, I mean, as long as the authentication, the authenticator per se is legit, it's going to be selling. So the Sage raw is selling for about 120. I think this also plays more emphasis on his true silvers. His true silvers are selling for raw $400, Carter. That's compared to, about $325 for Joe Burrow. And so CJ Stroud's PSA 10s for $800 on his true silvers.
Ooh, $400 for a true silver prism, Andy.
Raw.
Raw. Yeah, I mean, that's up there. Like, I was in a Facebook group. I was about to pull the trigger on an Anthony Richardson, and it looked clean, just true silver raw for $150. And this could be a situation. Obviously, on Power Hour NFL, I did this video not too long ago, Andy. How far is the gap between CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson? I would say it's still pretty wide because, CJ did have one of the best, rookie seasons we have ever seen. I mean, he was getting some MVP love in the middle of last year. But man, I'm a huge believer in AR's talent. But man, when I see $400, because I actually did this comparison yesterday, I was like, man, that's a lot. That is a lot of money. That's a huge gap between the two of them when it comes to their true silvers.
Yeah, and this is the biggest mistake that I think I'm finding is that there's some misrepresentation on eBay, but people are paying too much for the raw CJ Stroud silver prism. I'll show you guys some of the misrepresentation. I pulled up some of the goofiest listings that I could possibly find on eBay, or people have made huge mistakes, and I think there's going to be a lot of buyer's remorse. But when you're just looking at the CJ Stroud true silver prism market, I mean, people are paying $400 for the raw. And this is not just this one listing. I found multiple listings like this, but they're only paying $250 to $275, as you can see, for the PSA 9. And then they're paying $800 for the PSA 10. And if you look at the grade conversion rates of raw to PSA 9 and PSA 10, it's a little bit less than 50% chance of getting a raw to a PSA 10. You're most commonly going to get a 9. So I don't understand why people, because you don't see this with Joe Burrow. You don't see this with even Anthony Richardson. You don't see this big of a gap between the raw, the 9, and then the 10. It's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, Andy, my opinion on just silvers and hollows. Whether it's rated rookie or prism, I've always just kind of been, man, it's so crazy that these cards look so good, but they're not numbered. And the gem rates could just get wild on these, and the prices can get wild on these. And I think it's just the desirability of silver prisms, refractors, and whatnot. There's collectors out there that still hold that the 1996 basketball chrome refractors are the best cards ever made. And that was back when they mostly just focused on chrome refractor cards. So that you see it now with silver prisms, which is essentially the same thing. But yeah, I love the look of that card, but it is insane when you actually look at some of the prices.
Yeah, and then so if you go and look at like Brock Purdy, for example, he's got a big emphasis on his a true silver prism market as well. As PSA 10 sell for about $750, so very close to the CJ Stroud. Those were $1,100 at Super Bowl time, and the PSA 9 sell for only $240. So again, there's a big difference there. The Rawls, the true silver prism raw cards for Brock Purdy, incredibly hard to find. Like, you have to scroll for days on eBay to find a true one. There's a lot of misrepresentation there as well. And what I've noticed generally across the board is the optic hollow market is significantly lower than the true prism silver market. I think, we've wanted the rated rookie to kind of grow, or maybe some of us did. I did. I like that card. But for a lot of players, that card has really not grown at the same rate in terms of popularity and hobby.
Does that shock you? Does that shock you?
A little bit. I thought the optic hollow would do better, especially when you look at years like 2019 and 2018. When I look at Lamar, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and I go back and look at some of those years, even Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a big, big difference there between his prism silver, true prism silver, and the optic hollow market.
It does shock me, because I did really well with some rated rookie silvers from those years, and they look good. I mean, those cards look good, and it's always kind of weird, and it's like a little bit of a side little quest here to use a pun. It's always weird, the silver prism cards, because when you have to explain to someone new in the hobby that there is a card set named Prism, but the base Prism isn't a silver Prism, even though the base card is silver, right? Silver stands for Rainbow Refractor, and that silver is a prism of prism. Did you keep up with all of that? And if you're a diehard collector, you knew everything I just said made sense. Okay. If you're not, you're like, what the hell is this Egyptian hieroglyphic stuff that this dude is talking about? That's always interesting to me. And this would be my warning, because we are talking so much about silver prisms right now. I'm going to go ahead and do the earliest hobby tip of the week right here, Andy. I still see people get fooled by this. Okay. Always take a look at the photo of the card, because some people will list a base card as a silver card. Andy, I know you've seen this a gazillion times, but it's not a silver card. It's a base card. For the longest time when I started, I had a listing where I said silver Calvin Ridley rookie, but it wasn't a silver. I was just stupid. So always, if you are buying a silver prism card off of eBay, actually look at the photo, look at the back, see if it's going to say the word prism in tiny letters on the back, if it is indeed a silver. And you see on this base card, there is no tiny silver print on the back. It would be somewhere, I think, at the top. Tax. Yeah. So it's very confusing. I think that's part of the reason why some silvers go for crazy prices and some base cards go for crazy prices, because some people, Andy, think they're actually buying the silver variation.
Yeah, like this CJ Stroud here, I'm just kind of blown away that but I mean, it's not surprised. There's still new people getting into the hobby. And this is an easy mistake. It's like, it's a tongue twister. It's kind of complex. So You've got this one here, CJ Stroud PSA 9 that they advertise as silver prism, but clearly it's not. It's just a base prism CJ Stroud. This card, PSA 9, is going to sell for like 60, 70 bucks if you're lucky, right? Probably around 50 bucks, the same as his raw. There's really, in most cases, there's no advantage to having a 9 over the raw, in most cases, unless we get to like Patrick Mahomes. There's a lot more fakes and stuff and certain cards. But this card sold for $250, confirmed transaction on eBay. You got a fairly new seller here, 100% positive. But, you know, when the buyer finds out or finally realize, I don't know how long it's going to take him to realize that this is just a base card and he overpaid by approximately $200. I would imagine he's going to be pretty upset. He may not be in the hobby anymore after that. And this is not an isolated incident. This is a fairly common thing that I find on eBay. Yeah. And this one's easy because it's in a PSA slab and it would say Prism right there underneath 2023 Prism CJ Stroud.
Yeah. And once again, I never got a message back. I know his last name was Torres, Andy. I said, join the Patreon. I will cover your first month expenses. And guess what? That offer still holds up. If you're watching this right now, if you join the Patreon and you let me know that you're watching from this episode, I got your first month free because guess what? You need a service like this. I wish when I started that the Football Card Quest existed. There wasn't anything like this. That's how Andy and I joined. So that's why you need to go join patreon.com/football cards. You can also go to nooffseason.com and just upgrade with us there as well. And yeah, Andy, this is what I find interesting. I was actually looking at this, and we actually didn't discuss, you know, this actual thing. The Burrow Silver Prism autograph market has always been weird to me.
Yeah, I was hoping you could help me because you're like such a good investigator. Like, can you help me figure out what the heck happened here, dude? This is the weirdest thing. So here on the left, you have like pretty good photography. Obviously, you have a 2020 Silver Prism rookie auto, Joe Burrow, PSA 9 there that ended for $175. But the common price on that card is about $1,400.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out what happened, but from what I can see, this card looked like a normal auction.
Yeah.
And you know, it ended just a few days ago. So something weird happened to it on one bid.
Yeah. Yeah. Andy, I'll tell you, you know, I don't, the first big difference is, the card on the right has, an auto grade and a mint grade, but neither of them are 10s, right? If I had to choose between just a PSA 9 versus a auto 9, mint 9, I don't know which one I would actually prefer, but the one on the right was a 99-cent let it ride. You could just tell by the number of bids. The one on the left is not really that good of a photo. You know, slabs are always more difficult to photograph because you can get a reflection and all that. And it was set at a really low price, but also high enough to where, you know, someone's not just going to bid on it, right? So I could easily see what on the left happened. $175. That person just got the steal of the century. And once again, Andy and I do prep for like 15 minutes before every episode. I actually looked at this very thing last night, so I wonder if this actually went through because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't think that it actually went through or not, but that's the danger of having a minimum bid set at 175, which is way, like, if you were going to do a minimum bid on this card, Andy, why not just do it at $999 or like at like $1,000?
Yeah.
So I could easily see something like that. Well, actually, Joel has an explanation here. He says it didn't sell for $175. They had an auction and a buy now price or best offer. Oh, okay. So that's what happened. It just shows $175. That wasn't the actual price for the card. But wouldn't it? I don't know.
Well, what was interesting is I'll go back and pull it up, but typically it'll tell you my extension, the cardboard market extension on Google Chrome will tell you the best offer accepted price on a listing like that. And if I remember correctly, I mean, I was going through them pretty fast, but still, I mean, that was I'm pretty sure it was just a straight auction.
Yeah. Well,
I'll have to go back and look it up now.
Here's what I would say as a Burrow guy. Since we're talking so much about silver prisms, Andy, I have never been a huge fan of any silver prism sticker auto. Like, I've just never really been that big of a fan of that card. Number one, those cards are a little bit more common than you would like to think. They're not numbered. The sticker auto on that on a silver card like that, Andy, never really just looks the absolute best in my opinion. So I normally stay away from silver prisms with the sticker auto, but Andy, it's still a liquid card and a lot of people love it.
Yeah, it's a very liquid card. And in a lot of markets, it's doing just as well as the rookie ticket auto, if not a little bit better.
Right.
Yeah, you could see it didn't have a best offer next to it. I mean, if it had an offer, we would see the best offer or best offer accepted, or even if it was one bid, best offer accepted during an auction, it would still show that price here on the search results. So something was really goofy about that listing, Carter. But yeah, I'm like, for example, look at the Kyler Murray market. Super cheap right now still, even though they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. He had a little blip there, little tiny spike on draft night. Guys got a decent amount of rookie cards from 2019, 2,925. Got him right here at the bottom of tier 2. But we know he's capable of being tier 1 with his athleticism. Now you add Marvin Harrison Jr. Silver Prism rookie ticket auto, PSA 9, $250.
Ooh.
The last PSA 10 that sold was back in March for just $500. His Silver Prism auto raw, $250. So you see that the Silver Prism rookie auto and the rookie ticket auto PSA 9, same price there,
Whew. I don't know how I feel about Kyler, because I have so much invested in him on Underdog Drafts, Andy, and I actually do have some Kyler cards. And this is another player that I'm not necessarily even a fan of. I just think he's going to come back and be good. Like, I thought Kyler, when he played last year, just but nothing really to play for. It looked okay. Like, it looked okay for a guy coming back from injury. So I'm a Kyler guy. Let's do this KM1.
Would you rather have Kyler or Dak Prescott?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, me too.
But just I think Dak is probably the better quarterback, but I just think so many people have just soured on Dak. You have a 2016 quarterback versus a 2019 quarterback, and I don't know what's going to happen to Dak Prescott next offseason. It would be interesting to have some Dak cards if you were to go to a new team. But yeah, Andy, what are your thoughts on Dakota Rain?
He's so cheap, man. And the I wouldn't say it's weird. I guess it's pretty much expected, but his market has tanked. He hasn't even had any solds on his rookie ticket auto since early April. I mean, we're May 7th now. The last one I could find was a BGS 9 for $400 in early April. Silver Prism rookie auto, PSA 9 for $250. Like, just so cheap, man. His True Silver Prism, PSA 10 for $130. I mean, it's just crazy cheap right now. Dak Prescott.
Dak. You get CeeDee Lamb back. They really didn't get a whole lot of other weapons. And they brought back Zeke. Run it back, baby. Does Zeke still have some juice left in the tank? Huh? I freaking love it. And then the guy that has the biggest man crush on this channel, and this is a no pun intended, is a man who knows how to love. That is Jordan Love. People on this channel love them some Jordan Love, Andy.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, Jordan Love had a little bit of rushing production last year, so he showed a little bit of dual threat capability. We got a pretty deep wide receiver room. There's some ambiguity there, but this is an up and coming offense. The guy finished the season incredibly, including wiping the shorts of the aforementioned Dakota Prescott there, and Jordan Love. Some of his cards are getting up there. His raw rookie ticket auto 750. You compare that to Jalen Hurts raws at 700.
Ooh.
And then you have the PSA 10 on Jordan Love at $2,500. I found a couple confirmed in that range. And the PSA 10s for Jalen Hurts about 1,800. So in the rookie ticket auto market, Jordan Love is winning. In the silver prism and optic hollow market, this is an interesting one for Jordan Love because his optic hollow raws are selling for between 100 to 120, which is about twice as much as Jalen Hurts' optic hollow market right now. And then his prism, his true silver market, is only slightly ahead of that. When we've seen the true silver market in a lot of cases double optic hollow market. For Jordan Love, the optic hollow market is pretty strong. It's where his true silver PSA 10 when it really jumps up. So that true silver PSA 10 for Jordan Love, $700 compared to Jalen Hurts, about 160.
And Andy, we got a few people, including Joel, who is a huge supporter of the channel. Really quickly, Andy, you just finish out this 2020 class. Your thoughts on Tua's cards as we move into the next year?
Super cheap, man. So Tua he's way down there. So Tua is another interesting case study because you look at the difference in Tua's rookie ticket auto to his true silver. His true silver prism raw is $100 compared to his optic hollow raw, which is $35. Big difference. So people love the true silver prism of Tua. Now, when it comes to his rookie ticket autos, it's about neck and neck between the silver prism rookie auto and the rookie ticket auto. The PSA 10 rookie ticket auto is about $1,000, but you can get a raw rookie ticket auto for Tua right now about $300, or a raw silver prism rookie auto of Tua for $250. And the 10s are $1,000. There's not a big advantage for a 9. So you see a lot of like raws, and you are going to find some 9s out there, but the price advantage is not really there. So that's why I just focus on the raw and the PSA 10s there.
Perfect. All right, let's get into a few of your questions. Once again, Andy is all by himself. He has me. He's got Raymond to collect and to keep them and all that stuff that he does. But Andy is 75 to 80% of the football card quest. So if you do have a question, feel free to super chat it. It goes a long way with, for Andy's research and all of that. Or like Joseph, join the football card.
Join it up, baby.
Patreon. Okay. Let's go to Oisy Baby. He says, would you ever overprice a hard to find card on eBay? And Andy, the short answer to that is yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially depending on the player. Like there's a lot of additional details I would want to know. First one would be who's the player, and then what is the exact card? Like what set is it from? And how rare exactly is this card? Depending on those answers, I would price it. Like there are some Leaf cards that are hard to find, right, Carter? And this was another is going to be like a hobby tip, but a lot of people are buying the Caleb Williams, the Drake May, JJ McCarthy, the Jadens. They're buying all these guys right now, and so I went and looked up some of the Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, because there's likely a situation where Jaden, Caleb, and Drake May are all Fanatics exclusives, so they have a similar market to that of CJ Stroud from last year. So if you go, and you can't set your expectations for these guys to perform like CJ Stroud, but some of these Leaf cards are pretty rare. Like this one from CJ Stroud is numbered out of 3. A lot of these Leaf cards are going to be numbered out of 15 or less. Right. And this one today, PSA 8, it's going to be fairly comparable to the raw card. Selling for about $160. I mean, that's pretty solid, especially when you compare it to an Anthony Richardson of the same scarcity with serial numbered out of 3. You even got 3 out of 3 on this one. This guy's got some new hype now coming into 2024. He's highly ranked in fantasy, $52. So there's your kind of expectations of what, if you don't move these cards now, right? Some of these Leaf cards now or this offseason before the mosaics and the Donruss and all the other pro uniform sets come out, then you're going to be looking at these values next offseason.
Yeah, I'll say this. I do that with some of my PC items. Like my favorite card that I own is on eBay for a ridiculous sum of money. And I'm only going to sell it for that ridiculous sum of money. It's not quite like life-changing, earth-shadowing, buy a mansion amount of money, but it's still a lot where I would have to take that amount and move on. So yeah, you definitely should. But if you're trying to move it, you shouldn't. But there's always going to be one diehard collector, even if it's not of, like a super popular LeBron James level player. There's always going to be someone out there. Hell, we had a guest on here a few weeks ago who's an Xavier McKinney collector, and come to find out he's not the only one. And I don't think a lot of you probably even know who Xavier McKinney's new team actually is. There's so many super dire collectors of certain players. So there you go. And there we go. All right, let's get into. No, go on, Andy. Go on.
I think Wheezy Baby out here. I think he mentioned the card, the actual card that it was in the chat. Jordan Love Whiz Kids. I wonder if this is the card that he's talking about.
Whiz Kids.
Yeah, I really never heard of this card. It's got like the Breaking Bad chemical elements on the top front there. It looks like a from Donruss Elites, which is a lesser desirable set to begin with. And then you have a what appears to be a short print insert. Maybe no, it's not a case hit. I think it's just a short print insert.
I hope it was not this card. I hope it was something. But if you wanted a PSA slab, you do you. But I hope it was something. I hope it was something a little bit more rare. But if you wanted a PSA slab, go right on ahead.
The problem is this card's not very collectible. Nobody knows about it,
Right. Yeah, I never heard of it.
People aren't buying it.
Let's go to Matt, who says Jared Goff is a real buy right now.
I'd much rather prefer to buy Goff than Dak, just because Goff is more or less still got a ton of hype heading into this year. I mean, you can't scoff at Goff in the Lions, man. The Lions got a potential shot to make a deep run. I'm excited for the schedule release later this week. Let's see what kind of schedule is actually coming down the pipe here for the Lions and the rest of the NFC North. As we know, that division just got 2 new quarterbacks, big upgrades for a lot of that division. It's gonna be tough, man. It's a tough year for the Lions, but I think they're definitely going to be in the race, the playoff race.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Lions are going to be able to run it back. First place schedule now, like you said, Andy, it's going to be tougher. I mean, every team in that division has not only gotten better, they've gotten younger. It's just true. I mean, we all have our opinions on JJ McCarthy, but I do think he'll be fine with what they have in Minnesota. Chicago, well, they just crushed it, and then Green Bay is Green Bay. They're on the ascent. So we'll see We'll see what happens there. Now, Andy, it is time for hobby tip of the week. I've already given mine, so I won't go into another spiel about it. The silver versus base, like it's so complicated if you're new to the hobby, but it is important that you know. So, Andy, I'll go to you for your hobby tip of the week.
Yeah. I saw Clickbait's mention this earlier. He asked, when is Select going to drop, or is it going to at all? This is a huge question, man. When Select? What happened to Contenders? What's going on here? Where's Flawless? Where's National Treasures? It's like all these brands missing. Optic is the only premium set right now besides Panini One. Some people are into Panini One. They have some decent RPAs, but Optic is scheduled to be released, is the next major release, June 26th, and it's been holding strong on June 26th. That's a month and a half out. So we're not getting at least Select and Contenders, maybe July, August. It's kind of ridiculous, Carter, if you ask me. It's not really that great, and it makes it difficult to really kind of diversify your exposure to different cards for a certain player, like Anthony Richardson, for example, or any other second-year player that you want to invest in. It makes it pretty difficult, and it makes a lot of the focus just go back to Prism. So
yeah, and think about how many rookie cards and stuff that's out there right now. So this now, if you do have Prism of some of these players, this might force you to rethink it. Like you're like, oh, I get an extra month here. That might actually give you an extra month to buy Prism and get it in and flip it before the next release as well, Andy.
Yeah, no, you really can. I mean, at this point, it is the focus of the second year market for sure.
So there you.
So I got a couple. I got one more thing here, Carter. I want to pull up. Give me a second. I got to go back to that window because I had some other. I got a lot of windows open, man.
Oh God.
Jared Goff rookie autos, man. About $200. It's pretty cheap. There we go. I was looking for this right here. All right, you got to help me figure this one out, Carter. This is probably the most ridiculous thing I've found on eBay today. But here we've got a Patrick Mahomes rookie ticket auto reprint. It's a fake rookie ticket auto. Reprint, I think, is a nice word for fake. With what appears to be Patrick Mahomes' actual autograph in a blue Sharpie on the card. So someone must have taken this to event. And if you click on it, it takes you to this listing that sold for $10,000 of an actual rookie ticket auto BGS 9. But you click on this button, view original listing here on eBay, and it takes you back to that one that actually ended in auction for $1,325. It looks like we have a reputable seller here, but I'm looking at this card. I'm like, what the heck is this? And would you ever do this? I mean, is this the card that you took to get Patrick Mahomes to sign?
Yeah,
really?
I guess he just had it on him and saw Patrick somewhere. And the funny thing is, like, this auto is not even authenticated. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird. It does look like his SIG though. But yeah, I'll say this, just by our video today, eBay has had some weird activity happen over the past week and a half with that Joe Burrow 175 and now this, and the auto's a little smudgy right there.
Yeah, the blue Sharpie is smudgy. I mean, with his reprint auto on the card, you got to think that this could. I wouldn't touch this. Like, my first thing is, who bought this? I would not touch this without it being authenticated from PSA or BGS for an authentic autograph of Patrick Mahomes.
Raw in-person signings are always weird. And I think, Andy, that's part of the reason why, going back to like the Silver Prism sticker auto, why so many people like it is that people might actually feel a little bit more safer buying a silver prism sticker auto because they feel better about the auto that's on there compared to like an on-card auto aftermarket, unless that card is authenticated. It's a strange thing.
Yeah, and if you were sitting there, I mean, how hard would it be for you to duplicate that signature while looking at his auto signature, rebrand signatures? Like,
but it goes to show you like how much different the A-listers are. Like Patrick Mahomes is definitely that. Like, yeah. I've seen some obviously different sport, but I've seen some weird Caitlin Clark sales lately. It's just insane. But there you go. Joseph, our newest patron. There you go. He wants to chat Aiden OConnell, Andy.
Whew. Well, I'll tell you, he's ranked pretty far down right now, but he is pretty cheap. I mean, he is pretty cheap. So, we've done a pretty good deal of breaking down rookie autos from CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson. But when you look at Aiden OConnell, I mean, it's just a totally different market. So the first thing that I would do is get a good understanding is go to tcdb.com, tradingcarddatabase.com. You can find his true silver prisms, Aiden O'Connell's. You get an idea of his total number of rookie cards. You find his true silver prisms for like $10-15. It leaves you a lot of upside, Carter, when you know that card for CJ Stroud is $400, but even Anthony Richardson, it's $100 card, and so when you're buying a silver prism for a quarterback like that, if he wins the job outright from Gardner Minshew in camp, he starts the season. They got some new hype there in Brock Bowers. They got some good weapons, Devontae Adams. I know you're a Jacoby Myers. Well, we both like Jacoby Myers, like some Trey Tucker, like the coaching, Antonio Pierce. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be some hype whoever wins that job just because of the weapons they have there. And I know they beefed up the D-line, but last year there's a big weakness in their defensive secondary. I think that can change a lot from year to year, so it'll be interesting to see how good they are. But we know they're going to be playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs twice, the Chargers twice, the Broncos twice. They're in a difficult division. You definitely can see them having to air it out a little bit with the weapons and everything. So, yeah, I think it would be exciting for Aiden OConnell to get a start. There's a lot of upside in his prices, Carter.
Yeah, so one thing we know about the Raiders is they always do play the Chiefs tough. Like, I mean, it's never an easy victory, and they do well versus division teams. It's just they just do Raider things as the season moves on.
Raider things.
I think AOC will start. I do. Antonio Pierce is a loyalist, right? Gardner Minshew is new to the team. Aiden OConnell was with the team last year. So I'm going to roll the dice and say Aiden will start. And look, he's, like you just mentioned, a ridiculously good supporting cast around him and a football market dying for a quarterback to succeed. So there you go.
Carter, as much as I want Gardner Minshew to start, there's honestly, from a sports card perspective, there's more upside in Aiden OConnell's cards and if he starts, because it's like, okay, we've seen Minshew play majority of a season here for the Jags and for the Colts. And it's like, yeah, he's fun. He's a fun player. He's solid. He's serviceable, but is he really going to take this team to the next level? And he's no longer a rookie. He's no longer a young guy. He's now viewed as a veteran in the league. I mean, when you look at the prices of how cheap they are on Aiden OConnell, I think that's the bet to make. And read between the lines of the draft. The Chargers didn't draft a quarterback. The Raiders elected to pass on quarterback. So did the Chargers, but the Raiders elected to pass on a quarterback.
Aiden OConnell's got a new jersey number too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's it? What does it go to?
Well, I think it's either 10 or 12. It's one of those two. I don't think it'd be. No. It is number 12.
He's going to Tom Brady 12?
Yeah, he's going TB12, but
boy. Hector already knows it too, man. Hector's the super collector.
Okay. Here's what I would say, okay? I am of the belief that it's not good juju to switch to a jersey number that was worn by a legend, because you know who else wore number 12 for the Raiders? Do you, Andy?
Jamarcus Russell?
No, not Jamarcus Russell. No, their best quarterback ever.
Was that Joe Montana when he played there?
No. It's Ken Stabler.
Ken Stabler? When was that? Was that like early?
That's way 80s? Back when our old school. I'll tell you this: you want to get old schoolers excited, talk about Ken Stabler. I think Ken Stabler wore number 12. I also think Rich Gannon wore number 12 is there as well. So maybe that's a sign of good things. Maybe O'Connell is the next great number 12 quarterback there.
Wow.
But
he should be play of the week then, because I mean, at these prices, he's leaving a ton of upside.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, maybe if he's named the starter, there'll definitely be a little bit of a bump if you want to take that risk. Mm-hmm. But even if he is the backup, right, Gardner will have a quicker leash. So there you go. As you can see, I don't know if Family Burnliner is old school, but look, he got Ken Stabler's nickname right, the Snake. Look at that. That's that Ken Stabler, man, was that dude back in the day, man. Actually, there's someone I know that lives around the corner of me. He's a Stabler collector. Now, Andy, we are reaching play of the week territory, where we're getting to that point. But first, we want to shout out nooffseason.com, and we also, Andy, want to shout out CGC Cards, baby.
CGC Card Grading, CGCcards.com. Not group submission, bulk submissions, 25 card minimum, as low as $12. Well, it's $12 per card. You can submit $15 per single card with the declared value on the raw card up to $1,500. We did a fun little examination of that compared to PSA last week. And we talked about it. They've only been grading sports cards since 2021, but they're backed by the largest coin and paper grading companies in the world. They've got a very good business model going with some fantastic grading consistency, and they're growing in the hobby. So if you want to get your feet wet grading with some very good plastic and very good crystal clear holders and grading consistency, check out cgccards.com.
All right. Play of the week, and then we'll get into a few more of your questions. So I'm going to do something I've never done on this channel before, and it's bold. It's very, very, very bold. I'm about to give a play of the week to a quarterback who has had 2 years of starts at the collegiate level, and he doesn't have any football cards out, despite being a 5-star recruit, despite going to one of the 15 biggest brands. So not an Alabama or an Ohio State, but still really big brand, really huge fan base. And he plays in the Southeastern Conference, Andy. Did you know that the Southeastern Conference is the biggest conference in college football? You knew that, right, Andy?
The Southeastern Conference, yeah, the SEC. Well, I know it as the SEC. I don't even know if I knew that stood for Southeastern Conference, but
you did. You're just being funny. And his name is Connor Wigman, okay? I think there is some money to be made on the ambiguity of the number 1 overall pick next year at the quarterback position. And Andy, a lot of people are focusing in on Shedeur Sanders. Now, Andy, I'm gonna give you a warning here, all right? Do not speak ill of Shedeur Sanders, because I think he's way overhyped, last name, all that stuff. So I did a video on my NFL channel talking about Shedeur Sanders and all the sacks he took and how he holds on to the football too long. And my mentions, they have been calling me every name in the book, all right? They hate me. I don't think Shedeur is going to be the number 1 overall pick, even though the Vegas odds show it. Carson Beck, we've seen his prices go up at the collegiate market, plays for the best program in the country, has the highest floor of any quarterback in the country. Carson Beck is freaking good, Andy. I believe it. Even though he's losing Brock Bowers and he's losing, of course, Ladd McConkey, he's still going to be good. All right, great offensive line. He's losing his center. All right, that's Edgar Van Pran. So, I like Carson Beck. I still think his prices are reasonable. But if you really want to grind and make some money, go see if you can find that next quarterback, because there's not a Drake May, there's not a Caleb Williams out there right now, right? Where it's like if Drake May was in this draft class, Andy, he would be so far and away the number one prospect for this class, right? The gap between May and everyone else would have been way bigger than the gap between Caleb and Williams, if that makes sense. So I don't know if Connor Wigman's going to have any football cards out. I've checked on eBay. The only thing I see are helmets, a pylon, a few photos here, but I think he is very good. There are some things mechanically I don't like. I think his release is it can be a little bit labored at times. He's also been very hurt. That's part of the reason why the hype has been down. He had a season-ending foot injury last year, senior year. I think he had a bad concussion or something like that of high school football. He has 8 starts, only 2 interceptions in those 8 starts up to this point. And when he played in the small sample size, Andy, Pro Football Focus had him as a top 10 quarterback in all of college football. He gets a new offensive coordinator this next year. Once again, I don't know when football cards are actually going to be out on him. But when they do make the football cards on him, buy them, because the supply is going to be so low. At some point, they're going to make football cards. I don't care what the set is. It could be Wild Card, Leaf, Optic, Spectra, East Side, West Side, Chickadilly cards. I'm going to buy them if his autograph is on them. So Connor Wigman, my play of the week, even though there's no plays to be made because he doesn't have any football cards out yet.
Wow. Yeah. How do you spell that last name?
Weighman.
All right. There you have it, guys. Connor Wigman. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be releasing, 2024 Bowman Chrome University at some point. And he'll likely be in that. Where would you rank Jackson Dart amongst the Connor Wigmans and the Shedeur Sanders?
So Jackson Dart's going to have a decent amount of supply. He's in the better offense with the same OC, but I actually do like Wigman better as a talent. Nice, cool. I do.
Wow, there you go. I think it's a great play. I actually did a 7 must-have rookie wide receivers, Carter, video yesterday. I think that you want to have these guys in your collection or in your sports card flipping portfolio to buy and flip them heading into the season. You know who my number one guy? I think. I mean, I know there's injury concerns on him, Carter, but my number one guy is Ladd McConkey. It's Ladd, man. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people don't understand how good this guy is.
Ooh.
And if like a lot of people think that Jim Harbaugh and this Chargers offense are just going to run the ball, play defense. But I don't think the defense is that good. And let's face it, they're in that same division, the AFC West, man. It's a high octane. It's a tough division. The Chargers are going to have one of those primetime schedules. They're going to be throwing the ball plenty. Like, I don't know, this misconception. And then Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson, it's all average or below average. So Ladd is immediately the top talent by far in this offense. And some people think he's just like a Julian Edelman, this smaller white guy slot receiver. But that's not Ladd. Like, Ladd is good. He can line up all over the field. And if you go and look at his success rates versus man coverage, press coverage in college, I mean, this guy's good, Carter. This guy can run all the routes. He is excellent all over the field. So I think he's going to break out in a big way. And he's literally got very few rookie cards. They're like releasing new ones now from Sage and Leaf and stuff. But he's one of those guys that I am really big on this year.
Yeah. So Hector makes a good point here. McConkey will be a wide receiver 1, but in a Chargers run first offense.
See, Carter, I just don't think. I mean, yeah, maybe it's a run first. If they got to throw it though,
Yeah,
they're gonna be. Justin Herbert has got that cannon arm. They're gonna be throwing it, and because he's a rookie with so few cards, you give him like 10 targets. I'm not asking for a lot here. Give him 10 targets in one game and watch out. It's off. We're off to the races.
Yeah, and Ladd's used to being in an offense where he's not the focal point. Like he's
Brock Bowers, right? That
right.
I don't know exactly how that Georgia offense was run, but I know Brock Bowers was like probably one of the primary receiving targets in that offense. They probably ran the ball a ton too.
Yeah. Ladd to me is more of an outside guy than like you said, like the normal slot guy, right? That now during the draft process, there's one viral image, like how his measurables and athleticism are the exact same of Antonio Brown, which is not going to happen. He's not going to be that good, but I do think he's really good. He's been a little bit of a fade because here's the thing I don't like about Ladd is the injuries that he's had have been just like lingering injuries, like just stuff like that's just constantly just popped up and has slowed him down. But after the catchability, he's amazing. And outside of Malik Neighbors, start-stop ability after the catch, he's probably the best. How quickly he gets in and out of breaks is truly, truly spectacular. So I like it. Let's go, Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, man. And when you get to the NFL level, like this strength and conditioning programs are different. The nutrition plans they have you on are different. It gets a little bit more real. I know that they're making money now in college, and yeah, a lot of these college programs are like NFL programs, but it's not quite the same, man. It's just that I think that it does not going to take much, right? It's not going to take much for a guy that's only got like 10 different rookie cards right now, and actively like more being released. But yeah, that's my and see, I get it. The temptation is people want to buy the Josh Palmers because the cards are out there. The Quentin Johnson, the cards are out there. They're cheap. Somebody's got to be a receiver for this team. They're not going to be able to just run the ball 50 times a game. I don't think this is going to be anywhere close to an Arthur Smith, like that run heavy of a team, because your quarterback's not Desmond Ridder. Your quarterback's Justin freaking Herbert. I mean, he's good quarterback. I mean, he set the rookie record for pass attempts and touchdowns and stuff. So it's like, I mean, McConkey is he's going to be on fire. I think he gets healthy here, and beginning of this season, he's going to be on fire.
You know, one thing, Andy, I'm not a Chargers fan, but I'm kind of rooting for him because, and this is completely side topic, but I'm a huge NBA guy. Not like ginormous like I am about football, but the Nuggets are getting beat 2-0 by the Wolves. I love the fact that the NBA is no longer run by just like one player. There's like turnover. I do not want the Chiefs to win again. I hate dynasties. I do. If you're a casual fan, sure, you like the evil empire, you like the dynasties, if you will. But if you're actually a fan of the sport, you want variety. So yeah. I am all for. We talked about the Chargers. We talked about the Raiders. I'm all for Bo Nix being good on the Broncos. I want the Chiefs to go down. If you're a Kansas City fan, I am rooting against your downfall. And it shouldn't just be my patron saint Joe Burrow every year having to really take out Patrick Mahomes. It shouldn't just be Joe Burrow and Tom Brady taking care of business. We need Justin Herbert. We need Harbaugh. We need Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen to come together and beat Patrick Mahomes. We need it. I'm
got to do it. Got to do it. They got to do it. My bold take, Carter, for this upcoming year as well, for skill position players, that running backs values are going to have a big resurgence, and it's going to significantly balance out with wide receivers, just as a whole. You know, like if I'm buying Ladd, I'm buying your play last week, Kamani Vidal. You know, like as soon as they get some more stuff for him, I'm buying that as well. And the running back values, I think, are going to balance out a little bit, especially when they have those big roles. They put up better highlight reels, generally speaking, than wide receivers, just because guys love to watch running backs break tackles, stiff arms to the ground. Those highlights are way more entertaining, generally speaking, than the wide receivers that get loose and take top off of a defense and that kind of stuff.
I'm hopeful that you're right. I'm very skeptical, though, that the people get into the running back card thing. But what I would say, though, is a lot of these really, really good running backs have gone to better situations, right? Like Derrick Henry now with Baltimore, the best situation he's been in by far. Even though the Titans were once a 1 seed, but still, it's Lamar freaking Jackson. Josh Jacobs with the Packers, very, very, very spicy and interesting. So there you go. Andy, I'll let you take you could pick any comment that you want. I'll let you take the last one. If there's another topic that you want to get to, go right on ahead.
Yeah. Actually, before we sign off here, guys, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. If you're audio only listener, our podcast is actually going to be played now moving forward on the Sports Card Strategy feed on Spotify. Yeah, he's going to play it on his feed because, guys, I got to be honest with you. My primary focus is on YouTube. Okay. And so there's been a lot of times like Carter go to find our podcast, like see how we're doing. And it's like Sunday and I forgot to post it on the podcast feed. And so being part of nooffseason.com, Paul Hickey and the Sports Card Strategy channel and the No Off Season team are fantastic partners in the hobby. And he is going to be playing our football card market show on his feed for audio listeners only. So wanted to make you guys aware of that. So if you're like, where's this show specifically on our podcast feed, is going to move to the Sports Card Strategy show, but everything else not going to change.
All right. Once again, you can check out Andy on social media. I cannot wait to see you guys next Tuesday. We'll talk a little bit more. We'll do a show next Tuesday. I know we focus like on silver prisms and all of that, but we'll help identify a somewhat decent release schedule for this year's products. Okay. We'll talk to you next week, y'all. Peace.